Welcome back, guys. So for this lesson, we're going to look at factoring by grouping as well as factoring the difference of two squares. So we'll start off by factoring by grouping. Sometimes you'll hear it called or referred to as factoring by pairs. So what we have here is an expression with four terms. And what you'll often find with these questions is that the first pair of terms you will have common factors. Second pair of terms, same thing, common factors. Then when you factorize the first pair and second pair, you realize that you can factorize again. So let's start and let me show you with this example. Here we have factor, let me put a factor. This is 2y. So factoring, what do we have in the bracket? We have a 4x and we have minus y. Now for these two terms here, this pair, we have x and then 4x minus y in the bracket. Now we realize that we have common factors again, so we write it like so, put it on the outside, and then we can bring the 2y plus x in another bracket, and by doing so we have factorized the expression. So, lessons to take from it is you factor the first pair, factorize the first pair, factorize the second pair, and if you have done so correctly, you would realize that you can factorize again. What's in bracket in the first, from the first pair of factorization should be what's in the second bracket when you factorize a second pair. So continuing. So we're going to apply the same concept to this expression here. So we say that the q's are common, so we put that outside the bracket, right? 3p plus 1. Here, the only thing that we can factorize is the 2. Put the 2 on the outside. Now we have 3p plus 1. So here again, 3p plus 1. So we can put 3p plus 1 and then open bracket q plus 2. And we're finished with that. So we have another example. So again, the first two terms, we see that a is common. So 2y plus 3x. Over the second pair, we have b. We see that b is common. So we can put a minus b on the outside. 2y plus 3x. Alright, so the only tricky part about this question is to realize that, it's not just b, but minus b you should put on the outside of the bracket. Now we have 2y plus 3x common, so we can write that down. And then a minus b. Right, and we're finished with factorizing that expression. So, I would just say the only thing to note is that once you find that you have common terms in the bracket, you just write down that term, right? What's in the bracket, the 2y plus 3x, and these terms that would have been, or these factors that would have been outside the brackets, you then write them in a bracket by, together. Right? And that's how you would factorize. So you see, we turn these terms, sums and differences into two products. Right? So this multiplied by this. All right, moving right along. So the last question that we'll look at under grouping, factorizing by grouping, is this expression here. So again, apply the same concept. We see we have x being common to the first pair, so we're looking at them by pairs, right? And also we see where we can factor 3, so we can factor 3x. This leaves back 2n minus, and this leaves back 3m here. So we can check, right? 3 times 2, 6, x times n, nx, 3 times minus 3, 9, and then x times m, mx, right? Now over this side, we can factor out a 2y, preferably a minus 2y. Because from here we see that a minus is in this bracket here. So if we factor a minus 2y, we would end up with a minus in this bracket, because minus times minus give you plus, and we'll see. So we have minus 2y times 2n minus 3m, right? Because a minus 2y times a minus 3m give you a positive 6my, right? So these two are common. You write it down. Then these two factors here next, and you would have finished factorizing the expression. Alright, so let's continue now to factor in the difference of two squares.